In today's video, we have sound designers, composers, Riley can now run, my computer is officially dead, the game is days away from being ready for testing, Unity broke me, and that's everything we'll talk about today. Let's get to it. If you haven't yet wishlisted We Are Not Alone on Steam, I would really appreciate it if you could do. Just check out the link in the description. Every single wishlist helps me so much with visibility on the store page. Anyway, the first thing I want to talk about very quickly is that I do have a sound designer and composer. Well, two of them, in fact. They've been working for a little bit now and things are actually really good. The quality of the work is freaking fantastic. So we've got Thomas Batty and Ben Woodhouse on board. Now I was contacted by Tom quite a few months ago and we had a few discussions about the sound design I was going for, the really cool kind of like 70s, 80s retro zombie kind of vibe. When you hear it, you'll know it. I'll put a link down to a playlist actually below, just as some inspiration that I sent them, something I'm going for We Are Not Alone. But yeah, they've worked on some really cool stuff and I can't wait to actually get it into the game. So one of the other really big things, and you would have seen it in the intro, is that Riley can run now. Now she could always run in first person mode. That was super easy. Just put in a little thing and increase the speed. Didn't have to worry about animation. It was fine. It was super simple. But a few people back in the demo times did say that, hey, I would kind of expect that if I double clicked, she would run. And I never touched this because one very important thing in the Unity system, and that is blend tree animation. So the way my animations were always set up is that I would have idle, which would then, when speed increases, go to walk. And then I was like, but then when speed increases, it would have to go to run. And then it would just be, you know, based on triggers and transitions. And it was just kind of awkward. I knew about blend trees, but I could just never wrap my head around it. And for some reason it actually clicked. So I've now got this blend tree that you see on screen and it basically just works on speed. So as speed is 0, you're at the idle animation, and then as it increases, it starts blending towards the walk animation. And now it took about 5 minutes. I just increased that speed, put in the run animation, and Riley can now run, which makes sense. There's one very specific, well, there's quite a few very specific instances that this would make a lot of sense. And that is when being pursued by the creature. And it wasn't until I was doing one of these scenes that I was like, hey, it makes no sense that Riley's just casually walking and strolling around the complex. She needs to be able to run. So whoever it was that requested that many months ago, you got your wish. Riley can now run in third person. And this also means that you can now get around and do things a lot quicker, which isn't bad because it doesn't, you know, cut down on the pacing of anything, but it will remove that frustration of, hey, she's walking slowly, I want to get to this place quicker. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. And now that I know blend trees, it's going to make a lot of other things a lot easier too in terms of animation. Now, I could extend these blend trees into the rest of the animations, and you'd probably see that on screen now, you've got the idle thing, which handles the walking, the running, and then that branches off to everything else, such as picking up items, and it's all kind of messy and just, it really sucks. I wish I had spent the time or had the mental capacity to kind of understand blend trees before, and I could have made this a lot neater and the transitions a lot smoother, but it's just gonna have to do for now. I don't want to risk changing something fundamental like all the interaction animations. I was going to say interactions. That's not really what I meant. But all the interaction animations, I don't want to risk breaking that in a piece of the game that I've already finished. It just doesn't make sense and could cause many more delays. By the way, did you know that there is a Discord for We Are Not Alone? Well, it's a Discord for Stasis Booth Games, which is the company I founded to make We Are Not Alone. If you'd like to join in, there is a link in the description. I'd love to have you in there. It's kind of quiet at the moment, but you know, jump in, we'll have a chat. All right, let's talk about Unity's version control system. Now, you might have seen a post that I made on Twitter, and this was the error I was getting. It got to the point where I was at my end of day check-in, and I really just wanted to, you know, get it done, get it backed up, and relax. But then when I went to check in everything into version control, which I'm going to say this once again, if you're not using version control and a decent backup system, do it. Anyway, that's another random tangent. I've said it, take it to heart. get version control. But what happened is I went to check in. It started progressing and uploading everything to the cloud. I was happy, good, and then I got this error message. Some weird thing about the selector. I don't know, that doesn't mean anything to me. Trying to find support yourself for this Unity version control thing is terrible. There's forums dedicated to it, but no one ever seems to really have the solution, or a solution that's good, or someone's like, hey, I fixed this, and never post the response of how they did it. It's so fucking annoying. So I was going to lodge a support ticket with Unity version control themselves, try and get some help, decided to just post on their forum, see what happened, and take care of it myself. So I went back to backing up like a caveman. As you can see from this little picture here, it is very slow to back up the entire project. Now, I know what you're thinking looking at those file sizes. Yes, it's a big project. I need to clean out a bunch of stuff I'm not using. And it's mainly all just like TGA files that are, you know, like layered image files that need to be compressed down into one PNG, and that'll save, I think, many gigabytes. So with that backup completed that I did myself, just a manual one to make sure, I then deleted the repository and re-downloaded everything from the cloud, and that seemed to fix it. It was not a fun experience. I need to probably look into some other kind of version control, but moving to the next project, I probably won't even be with Unity anyway, so we'll see. Apart from version control, let's talk about the computer issues for a minute. If you watched the last video, you'll know that I said, hey, my computer just died. Alright, well, I thought, okay, it's either the power supply or the graphics card. I'll get the cheapest one first. Got the power supply, plugged everything in. Not good. The graphics card itself is dead. And they are kind of expensive to replace. Thankfully, I found out that mine was under warranty, which could take between 4 to 6 weeks to get back. But that is not a bad thing. Let me tell you why, because I've been using my Mac sitting right here. It's an older one, the base M1 chip. It can only use one external display rather than two, but I think I'm in love. And I'm not kidding, I have always had like a Mac laptop just sitting around if I need to go do something somewhere else, or just chill on the couch and use a computer. I've always had the Mac laptop because the battery is phenomenal. But I've never really used this full time for development, and it has changed me. I really think I've just fallen in love with it. Let me explain. Before you go, oh, bloody Apple computers, and click off, let me explain why. I believe that switching from 2 large external displays to the 13-inch laptop display and 1 large external would completely obliterate my productivity. I've always got so many windows open that I just need to keep clicking between, and I've always got them in windows really nicely set out in location so I can easily just flick to it, and it's great. The screen real estate I was really concerned about, but there is one amazing thing in macOS with the touchpad that has just blown my mind and made me feel like I'm the most productive person in the entire world. And that is this gesture. It's the number 3. But what it does, I'll show you now. Doing this gesture basically just brings up all the windows that are there, and then it's a quick tap or flick to get to what you need to be using. I've got all the Unity windows basically layered behind each other, and I just do this little flick, know exactly where it's going to be, click it, and move on. Now, because I do a lot of things where I need to click something in scene, click into its action list to then add all its logic into it, and then the action list, you know, is behind Unity. That was always a problem where I'd have multiple windows over multiple desktops, and just that is brilliant. I love it. The other good thing with using the Mac, now that I know it's capable of running my game really well, even in the editor, which is usually crappier for performance, is that this is going to help with my downtime considerably. I always had the issue where I was using my gaming PC for work, and then when I'd want to relax, I'd be stuck trying to force myself not to open Unity and do work. Now, all I need to do is literally unplug a couple of cables, close the lid, slot it into this little area, pull out my other keyboard, and it's just my gaming PC once my graphics card comes back from the warranty. So in terms of the game, we've got the sound designers, we've got the composers. How is everything else going? Well, Act 1 is almost ready to go for testing. Considering how things are going, it's Monday now, so we're looking at probably Wednesday. The keys will start going out to beta testers, which is really bloody exciting. There's still some polish to add to Act 1 in terms of audio, the music that will come from the composers, the voice acting, but basically everything else is done in terms of the dialogue, and it's so close. The momentum that I've been having since taking this break means that Act 2 and Act 3 should also be done by the end of the month. I mean, I'm only giving myself, what, 15 days for that? But I think it's doable. If not the end of the month, in early February, and then the full thing is going out for testing and then releases end of February, or if something goes absolutely skew-if, it'll be out early March. But I am super hopeful and I'm feeling good about this. With Act 1 being so close to completion, that means that the voice scripts are basically finalized. They can start going out to the voice actors, and they will be able to do this in chunks. They won't have to worry about getting Acts 1 through 3 straight away and having this mass amount of dialogue to record. They'll just be able to do it in smaller chunks. And speaking of voice actors, we should probably formally announce that soon, right? Stay tuned. Okay, I think that about wraps it up for this week. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't wishlisted We Are Not Alone yet, there's a link in the description. I would love that. Thank you so much. There's also the Discord that you can join. I believe things are progressing really well. The break I took in December completely refreshed and restarted my brain, and I just feel absolutely amazing, and like I'm in a good place and the project is in a good place too. I'm consistently getting day to day so much work done, and it's awesome. But as each day goes by, I get closer to the release date, and it's kind of scary that my baby will be out there for people to play. It's scary and exciting at the same time. If you've ever worked on a game and you're getting close to release, it's a really unique, cool, but horrible feeling at the same time. So if I'm planning to release in about a month, that means that the nightmares should start in a couple of weeks. But that will do it for today. Thank you once again for watching. I'm Andrew, developing We Are Not Alone, and as always, stay indie.